Welcome to the Phil Taylor Jones Show. We are going to go on a little bit of an adventure this morning, and we invite you to come along with us as we delve into racism, that terrible stain upon America that the old girl seemingly can't shake. I'm Phil Taylor Jones, your host, and let's take a look at this very divisive and fiery subject. We know that last week was a very deadly week. We lost 7 innocent people of various ethnicities, mainly black and white. I was looking upon social media last evening and I saw this post, and it read, "May God bless our 5 police officers that were killed in the line of duty, lost their lives. Innocent police officers lost their lives." And while that in and of itself wasn't a bad thing, it was a bad thing. Because, unless I miss my guess, there were 7 innocent lives lost last week. 2 black innocent lives, and 5 white, and 4 white and 1 Hispanic life, innocent, lost. So I guess maybe the 2 black innocent lives didn't need God's blessing, just they're dead and that's it. Maybe it shouldn't have been taken that way, but then maybe it should have. You see, we seem to preach a double standard on many issues in this country, but especially on race. Here's a scenario. 2 black people died last week. Oh, that's too bad. 5 white people died. Oh my God. Oh, wait a minute. This can't happen. This must stop now. Damn it all to hell. We can't have this in this country. Life is life. No matter what color it was before it ended, it's still life. Yes, we know that in this country we have a horrid problem with race. We always did. We had a problem with race when it was just basically white folks and the Indians on this land. And what happened there? Oh, because the Indians wanted to protect their land from these newcomers, these interlopers, they became savages. That's another thing in this country that we're so good at, labeling people. Now, I've spent time in other countries, and some of them, they're pretty good at it. Some of them, they don't do it. But we perfected it. We're always labeling people. Oh, those savages. Just because they want to protect their own land. And what do? We moved them into the background, stole most of their land away from them, and put them on these little small reservations. Then the black folk came into the picture because, again, slaves were needed. Now they're hated. The most hated on the planet. So, out of that came Black Lives Matter, which is wrong. It should be Black Lives Should Matter, or Black Lives Could Matter, but it's Black Lives Matter. Now, what America is saying to us, or I guess white America, is that it's okay for your folk to be killed, but it's not okay for you to get angry about it or get agitated about it or speak out about it. That's wrong. You can't do that. Because now Black Lives Matter, the movement, is being equated to ISIS or terrorists. I find that quite odd. You see, back in the day, in the mid to late 1800s, there came to be a group known as the Ku Klux Klan, or simply the Klan, or the KKK. This was probably one of the first terrorist groups. And within the pictorial at the beginning and end of the show, you will see some photos that I selected for this. Let's look at the KKK, what they're responsible for. Bombings. Oh yeah, there was a guy called Dynamite Bob back in the 50s. You couldn't be in town a minute, boom, bomb go off. Killing people. In fact, there was a very well chronicled incident involving Mr. Dynamite Bob, Ku Klux Klanman. It's entitled Four Little Girls. I urge you to view that film. It's very enlightening and very poignant. 4 little girls lost their lives. 4 little black girls. Oh, that's too bad. But if it had been 4 little white girls, oh my goodness. Cross burnings. You're a black person and you own some property. Wasn't out of the ordinary to wake up and find a cross burning on your front lawn. Lynchings. Hanging black folk from trees. Very common. Up to 3 days ago, they found a black person hung up in a tree in the southern part of the country. 3 days ago. Now, was the Klan responsible for this? That has yet to be determined. It's still under investigation. But the funny thing is, the Klan was in that park just 3 days before they found this black guy strung up. Interesting. Bombing and burning black churches. The last incident I heard of that was about a year ago, maybe even sooner. Memory kind of fails me, but I remember that there were burnings of black churches, at least 4 black churches. It's done by the Ku Klux Klan. Countless brutal killings over a century. Tarrings and featherings, lynchings, tying stones to people's feet and throwing them in bodies of water, burning them, you name it. Ku Klux Klan. The imposition of the ideal that the white race is the only pure race in the entire world. And I've never seen, or possibly never will see, a black person at a KKK rally in favor of the KKK, on the KKK side, KKK embracing them. I will never see that. Now let's look at ISIS, if we will. There have been beheadings, actually those shown on telly and on the internet. Drowning of their captives in cages. Can you imagine being not only in a cage, but locked up, hand and feet shackled, and then dipped in a body of water until you are dead? Burning of their captives alive, dousing them with gasoline and setting them afire while they're still alive. Mass killings in major cities all over the world. Occupying cities, killing citizens, and driving others out of their homeland. Suicide bombings, killing hundreds of thousands of innocent people all over the world, including the United States. The murdering of Christians, enforcing their Sharia law upon those they dominate. Now, let's take a look at Black Lives Matter. There have been death threats made against white people. Marching and disruption in various cities around the nation, causing disorder at their rallies. Countless white people supporting Black Lives Matter, including celebrities and others. But yet, now there's this mad dash to equate Black Lives Matter with ISIS, the terrorists. But yet nothing said about the Klan. So even in heinous activity, even in brutal murder, even in the most rottenness of what we call humanity, whites seemingly stand up for whites in defense, no matter how heinous. I have never once heard the KKK mentioned as being an equal to ISIS. Even down to their flags and the way they dress, it would denote fear into any normal human being. But yet, Black Lives Matter, yes, they have made threats against white people. Not that I'm condoning anything here, but let's just look at that thing, because we know how the news media operates. Someone just gets killed. Someone's at a Black Lives Rally Matter, the Black Lives Matter rally, and getting it all mixed up here. It's just disgusting. Now, if the news media is there and they, are interviewing people, maybe this was the person's relative or friend or something that they're interviewing. And they say, well, what are your feelings? Well, I wish all white people were dead. If I had my way, I'd kill them all. This person is hurting. Their family member has just been slain at the hands of a white person. How many white people have had people slain by black people and said, yeah, I wish all them black people were dead. They killed my brother. They killed my mother. They killed my friend. I wish they were all dead. Sure, that can happen. I'm no exception. When my grandmother or our grandmother passed away, it was at the hands of some creepy doctors that I didn't feel did the best they could for her. And I hated all doctors at that time. I was hurting. I was grieving. I said, as far as I'm concerned, all doctors can go jump. Did I mean it? No, there's some very good doctors out there that are helping to save lives. But at the moment, I was hurting. But it only takes a second for a news whore to put something out of context, and it takes a nanosecond for an idiot to embrace it. I have never said I supported Black Lives Matter. I can understand its inception and its conception, but I do not agree with their methods. They're useless, because a vast majority of white folks in this country couldn't care less how much shoe leather they burn up march, and they can march until their heads fall off, and it's not going to change anything in the hearts of those that have a prejudice deep-seated in their hearts, and they do. Some white folks are going to hate black folks until there are no more black folks to hate. And sorry, you guys, that ain't going to happen, because black folks are constantly having babies, just as are you whites. So you're going to be hating for a long time. So you might as well give that up for something more productive, or otherwise you're going to die of an old age of hating people. But to the Black Lives Matter movement, you need to change your way of doing things to become more effective. You're weak. You're ineffective. Walking around, chanting with the signs. They don't care. How long have you been doing that? How's it working out for you? You go and you chant and you do this and that, and they go kill some other black person. Then you come back out and you chant, you walk, and you need to find a stronger way of doing things. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to do, as they did in the 60s. But see, in the 60s, it was a different animal. We were a different black people in the 60s. When Martin King and Rosa Parks took action against the bus companies and put forth a boycott, the boycott held. Those black folks stood resolute. They were honest-hearted in what they wanted and what they desired. They shut the bus company down. The bus company started losing money. Therefore, Black Lives Matter. But we don't have that mentality today. We got the mentality go in March, but these people don't care. They couldn't give a tinker's damn. So you might as well get you some new shoes and just walk to wherever you need to go without walking the street, because they don't care. Okay. Now, it's mind-boggling how people feel about other people. Just forget about cops right now. We're just talking about people killing other people. What's the reason for that? Hatred based on what? Based on you don't know or understand the inner workings of this person, so he or she is strange to you, so you feel you have to get rid of them. Wow, that's an interesting concept, isn't it? What we need to do in this country, and perhaps around the world, is, to the extent possible, try to understand each other. Now, there are lost causes. You can't understand them. It's going to be their way or the highway. In the case of Muslims, they don't care what you think. They don't want to, bend to your will. You got to bend to their will, or they'll kill you. So yeah, you can't basically be bothered with those people. But for white folks and black folks, we've been in this country for centuries. And from way back when to where we are now, you mean to tell me that we can't get along? That there's still got to be hatred and labeling and this. We're not born that way. That's an acquired thing. You get a little black baby, you get a little white baby, they're born the same day. You put them in a crib together. They're not going to look at each other and say, ooh, gaga, that's a nigga. I don't want to be bothered with him. Or, ooh, gaga, that's a hunky. I don't want to be bothered with him. They're going to interact in their own little baby way. And as they grow up, they become friends. There are many people in the KKK that have children. And when they're sent to school, get taught by mom and dad not to interact with those black people. But guess what? They do. They see something in this little black kid that they like, and they befriend him. It may be a secret friendship, but there have been many chronicles of it. Same way with black people who are taught to hate white people. Somewhere down the road, they'll interconnect, and they discover they like each other. And what's wrong with that? But people, in general, but I am going to break it down just for this point I'm trying to make. White people can't expect for black people to remain silent and remain calm when they constantly see white people killing them and getting away with it, especially if they're law enforcement. Now, let's just go back to the thing in North Carolina where this white boy went into the church and shot up all those black people. Oh, yeah, he got prosecuted too. Sweet. Throw him in the clinks. Get him in there. No questions asked. He's a bad man. He killed. He's a murderer. Get him out of here. But when it comes to a police officer, different story. These are same people. Remember, people first, jobs second. This creep went in and killed those people in the church, in there studying their Bibles, discussing the gospel. Goes in there, blow him away. Incarcerate him, put him away for life, put him away for 50 million years in the dark day. Person, creep. Person, not a good person. This same supposed police officer, who I say isn't a police officer, because if you can kill someone that easily, then, I question your motives. You put him up, he goes scot-free. Why? Because he's a pseudo law enforcement? No. You check his record, records and records and records back. He has a record as long as my arm of being a person of brutality to everyone he meets, over exertion of his baton, shooting, not a good shooting, a bad shooting, just calling people out of their names, calling them niggas and what have you. But yet he's still on the police force. Now, we know that law enforcement has a certain fear in them. Why wouldn't they? They're going into situations that are very, very critical, and in most cases very fluid. Things can happen at any given moment. So why wouldn't you be a little comprehensive, or maybe even fearful? But if you're that scared, then you shouldn't be on the police force. Maybe you should go get you a job as a computer analyst or something. If you're that scared, you got to get out and pull your gun and shoot somebody. Or if you've got such a horrid record, or if you're such a devout racist, or if you're so prejudiced that you don't even like to eat Oreo cookies because they got a black outer edge, then you should not be working with the public, because you may be inclined to want to kill them. So black folks shouldn't be mad about that. They should just keep getting killed and keep your mouth shut. Keep walking, keep walking. Don't say nothing. Because if they do say something, oh, they're racist. Or if they do get together as a group, oh, they're terrorists. Look at the evidence. Look at what the KKK has done. Look at what ISIS has done. And look at what Black Lives Matter has done. And you tell me who are interconnected and could equally be terrorists. Out of all the research I've ever done, I have never seen where BLM has burnt down a church. Out of all my evidentiary findings, I have never known of BLM to burn a cross in front of a white person's yard. Out of all of the readings and researches and renderings and things that I've done, I've never seen where a Black Lives Matter person has lynched anyone or tarred and feathered anyone or set off a bomb for anyone or towards anyone. But the KKK has. Oh, just see it now. Black farmer and his family got all the animals in, got them fed, watered. They're settling down to bed, sleeping peacefully. All of a sudden, a ruckus. Animals barking and screaming and hollering and what have you. And they awake to see a blaze. The barn is afire. They go out and try to put out the barn and save the animals. And before they can get that done, if they happen to look back, their house is on fire. And then they see a group of 15 or 20 Klansmen standing there in their hoods, in their robes. Has Black Lives Matter ever done that? No. They weren't good at saying they wish all white people dead. No, that's not good. I don't condone that. But like I said, it depends on these news whores and when they catch this person saying this. Is this a person that is grieving for their loved ones? Are these people that may be saying it or chanting it backing this person up? That's what rallies are for, to back up people. It's not right to wish death on anyone. No, it isn't, and I'm not condoning that. But in the heat of the moment, when you're grieving for a loved one that was needlessly killed, this innocent person, then you might make a statement like that. This guy that was in Texas, according to what the news whores were reporting, he didn't like it because the white cops had killed the black people. He did not like it because basically they get off scot-free. And here's the clincher. He didn't particularly care for Black Lives Matter either. But yet, what's going on, or has gone on in Texas, is considered a terrorist act by Black Lives Matter. How easy you misconstrue and so quickly to accept something that is against something that you may feel guilty for. Ancestrally, white folks have done black folks in a terrible way. There's no denying that. But now it's the thing to, okay, black person gets killed, but the black people can't say anything about it. Well, that ain't going to happen. So you can dislike Black Lives Matter all you want. I don't think they're going anywhere. They're not going to stop just because you don't like them or you label them terrorists. How far they're going to get with the actions that they're doing, I don't think they're going to get too far, as far as their goal, unless they change it. But if you don't want Black Lives Matter around, then stop killing Black lives or taking Black lives. You can put up, I noticed on social media too, they've been putting up these numbers, whites killed by whites at 1%, blacks killed by blacks at 93%, whites killed by whites at this, and blacks killed by whites, and whites killed by blacks, and all of these little numbers here. Screw that. I believe that like I believe tomorrow's Christmas Day. With the way our crooked government acts, that could have been generated anywhere. It could have been generated by the Ku Klux Klan for all we know. But the white people have embraced it. Oh, see that? You see? I'm no fool. I know that, anybody who can cover up the murder of a president, anybody who can cover up or maybe feign that they landed on the moon, that's still out to question whether or not there was actual moon landing. And the stuff about John Kennedy, some of those things are just now being opened up. And we still don't know the full story. So you think for a minute that I'm going to believe some little thing with some governmental agency's fuzzy math telling me what's going on? And let's look at the crooked news media. They're saying that, when these shootings occur and it's white against black, they publicize it because it gets you going. It gets you riled up. I'm fired up. Can't take it no more. Okay, so that's what happens. But now, remember the fact, too, that they are what? News whores. If there were black cops shooting white people, they would tell it. They couldn't help themselves. They'd be chomping at the bit. Maybe the government doesn't want them to do it, but they would do it somehow. They can't help it. So that cat wasn't let out the bag, he yanked out. They would tell it. And even that in and of itself is not the point. Murder is murder is murder is murder. No matter who's doing it, what color they are, whatever the deal is, a life has been taken. A life should have been valued. And in the vein of them being gone, a life should be respected. So yeah, I took great offense too. Oh, God bless our 5 police officers, innocent lives taken, when there were 7 innocent lives taken. Just because they had a darkness of skin, God shouldn't bless them. They're valueless in this society. Well, according to most white people, yes, we are, as black people, valueless. They couldn't care if we fell off the dark side of the earth. But we're here in living color. Dig it. Dig it hard. You respect me, I'll respect you. You don't kill me, I won't kill you. Black lives should matter, but they don't. Nor will they ever. As long as there's going to be white people that hate black people, and as long as there's going to be black people for white people to hate, it will never end. But I will say this. To you white folks out there that are truly colorblind and are here on this planet to befriend, to behold, and to, just care about fellow human beings, good on you. You're what should be all over this world. To you black folks who can be the same way, good on you. You should be what's in this whole world. But we know that there is a bad element out there that keeps things off kilter. To understand why something has happened is power. And out of things like the Ku Klux Klan, out of things like slavery, out of things like being beaten constantly, killed, out of injustice, out of just pure ignorance of people. They had to enact something called affirmative action so black folks could have a shot at getting a job. I think they've since disbanded it. But this has been long going, and it's long overdue for some kind of good solution. To blame, oh bastard? As I said before in another show, everything that's horrible and creepy I'd like to put in his doorstep, but I can't do it. It goes far beyond him. People need to come together. People need to learn to respect each other. People need to have empathy for the other person. Yeah, he may be a black person, but that black person has somebody on this planet that loves him or her and will miss her or him if you kill them. That white person over there, same thing applies. Think about that thing before you're so quick to rush to judgment. 7 innocent people lost their lives last week. 7 people need to be held in the bosom of God, if that's your thing. Or 7 people need to be felt sympathy for. 7 people need to be cried over, not just bloody 5. Exec, what do you got?
Well, a lot of sorrow and sadness for these 7 people that didn't deserve to die. I also, too, take offense to only having 5 of them held in reverence. That's not right. Anybody that has a life doesn't deserve to have it taken because it can't be given back. That's one of the worst things you can do to people, and one of the worst things that's ever happened in our history is what happened to, African Americans. It's been about 500 years now since that stuff happened, and where are we now?
It seems like it's 500, but it's actually a couple of centuries.
I was reading there's some kind of movie called 500 Years Later, so maybe I took it out of context.
Well, this country is only 240 years old. So.
Took it out of context. I don't know how they got with that number there, but the only improvement I was saying to you yesterday that black people have gotten is the vote to be anywhere they want on the bus, and equality in jobs. But when you pass that, how can you be right in your heart when I didn't even know this happened until you told me just now, and I think yesterday, with something like black people still being hung?
Yeah.
How far have we gotten?
3 days ago.
Like I was saying again yesterday to you, we take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. How far are you going to go when you keep losing a step every time you make those 5 steps? It's a shame what everybody, how everybody talks, or most everybody talks about it, the racism is just rampant, and like you said, it's always going to be here because there's always people to hate, and it's one of the stupidest things you can do. It's the same blood, the same 4 appendages. You got 2 arms, 2 legs, unless you were born different from someone else. But we're the same people. Just because you happen to be a darker skin, it doesn't mean that you should automatically hate someone. It's the dumbest thing you can do, is just hate someone for no reason, And to have all this stuff happen back in the day, I saw that 4 little girls with you, and it kind of tore me up a little bit to see, how real it shows what happened back then is, And I said this on the last show, and I'll repeat it. I don't have a lot of respect for white people. I'm kind of embarrassed to be part of that race based on what they've done. It was a terrible, heinous thing that they've done all this time, And on the opposite foot, I have a lot of respect and admiration for African Americans, black people, to have survived this, the ones that did. Unfortunately, there's a lot that didn't. But to have, their stick-to-itiveness and their pride and their, we shall overcome and everything, they did stick together back in the day and get things done. And they have a lot more soul and a lot more perseverance and stuff because of that. They're a strong people, and I wish they could do the same thing nowadays and actually put a stop to it. But we'll be talking about that in a second. I had something to say about that. But just looking at the numbers, back then, 40 to 100 million people were directly afflicted by slavery via the Atlantic, Arabian, and Trans-Saharan routes. And over 10 million of them died as consequences directly of the Atlantic slave slave trade alone. That's just the slave trade, disregarding all the, heinous burnings and lynchings and all the other kind of murderous acts and evil acts. It's just ridiculous, and the fact that it's still going on. None of these people have deserved to be died. There shouldn't be a Black Lives Matter, because not only black people should be getting killed more often than everybody else. And they claim that by police, white people are killed more often than black, but I don't really believe that. Maybe they're just saying that to make it not look like they're doing that bad as people think they are, but I think it's the other way around, And I think you were telling me about something, I'm not sure if you mentioned it in the show yet or not, but about black people just actually trying to do like they did back in the day and stopping stuff, stopping the buses and
boycotting,
stopping the buying stuff, Starbucks and all that kind of stuff,
They don't have that kind of mentality today. They're too attached to their computers. They're too attached to this, too attached to that, and they think that just marching up and down the street is going to, fix the bill. It's not going to do it. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was just leading into what you were saying about that. If you were telling me earlier before we started the show that if they actually just basically stopped everything except for going to grocery stores, purchasing stuff at different places, then people would probably go out of business and would be screaming, we need to do something about this and get their demands met. Stop killing black people, and you might get something done.
Well, yeah, that's true. Like I said, when they found out Black Lives Matter back in the day, it's when those bus companies started losing millions of dollars a day, hundreds of thousands of dollars a day. And then that's when they found out Black Lives Matter. See, these people today, they don't give a fat rat's patoot how much you march up and down the street with your little signs and all that. They don't care. But if you were to go like on a nationwide boycott of these various places all of the time, if you were to just take your accounts off of Facebook, black folks, just take it off of there, Twitter, Instagram, all this crap. If black folks pull their dollars out of places like Disneyland, Magic Mountain, the shows, the movie theaters, if they stop buying CDs or stop buying iTunes products or just stop buying anything but the necessities that you need, then Black Lives would matter, because black green dollars would not be making their way to white pockets. And then that way you make them notice you by monetary means, because that's what they understand when you hit them in the pocket. They don't care about you as a black person, but they care about your money. And if you make it so that they're not making any, they'll go to the government and say, what the hell are you doing? Stop killing these people, because they're killing us by not buying our products, And this hatred, just to show you something. Now, Muslims are supposed to be so hated, but there's nothing more hated than black people. Niggers. And I say that to say this. Whenever you look on social media and they're talking about Muslims or them coming over here, they'll make reference to, we don't want them sand niggers. They hate Muslims, but they don't hate Muslims as bad as they do black people. So they refer to Muslims as something so defiled that it's related to the most defiled thing in the world, according to some whites, and that's niggers. So we don't want them sand niggers, or we should let them sand niggers stay over there where they are. It's a crazy thing that's happened. To just hate. Our grandmother taught us that to hate, you suffer the most. Because the person that you hate doesn't know how much you hate them, or probably doesn't even care. So you're the one that's harboring all of this within you. And the person probably doesn't even know, doesn't even care. Well, black people know that you hate them because you kill them. But, my point is, it's time to relinquish this, because what good is it doing? It's just causing a perpetual thing that's tearing our country apart. I mean, we've got enough problems in this country that we're trying to bat down without, coming up with, shall we say, a new way to perpetuate the oldest problem that we've had in this country. It's time to move on. We can't do it, or we won't do it, but it's basically time to move on. When will the killing stop? Killing gets more killing, more killing, more killing. There's enough killing. We're killing more people than are being born. So we got to try to find a way to stop it. The country needs to be united. We've got this political problem where we got all these deadheads in here. And then a new deadhead is very soon going to take the helm. So we got enough problems having the bitch as a president. So we should try to find a way to break this racial problem down. Black folks can't be that bad. White folks can't be that bad. Get rid of the hate. Let some love in there. Bring it together. And let's try to, stop this killing and craziness. So that all these acronyms can just go away forever. And the new acronym will be LOVE. That's our edition of the Phil Taylor Jones Show. We hope that you'll join us again real soon. If you wish to subscribe to us, there's a little button over there, and if you so feel inclined, please tap it. We'll be happy that you did. New week coming up, new week of craziness, new week of hope. Stay safe, stay joyful. We'll see you next time on the Phil Taylor Jones Show.